the first time since 1969, the Sports Car Club of America's National Championship Runoffs returned to one of their historic homes, Daytona. Welcome to the 52nd SCCA Runoffs presented by Garmin Verb at Daytona International Speedway, brought to you by Mazda. The run for the medals begins now. Welcome to Daytona International Speedway. Cloudy skies, but so far the clouds, the thick stuff, staying away, and that means we've got nice weather so far as we continue our run to the golds here at the 2015 running of SCCA's National Championship Runoffs presented by Garmin Verb at Daytona International Speedway. Those are the high banks, folks, 33 degrees that these drivers are dealing with here in this 52nd running of the Runoffs brought to you by Mazda. I'm Greg Creamer, joined by Jeff Lepper, and down in pit lane doing yeoman's work down there and keeping a smile amidst the heat, and that's outdoor sauna, is Hayward Wagner. Hey, bud.
It's a little warm out here, Greg. We're having a great time, though. Some amazing racing so far today. Really looking forward to this T1 race. Andrew Aquilante looked amazing in qualifying, and if he gets a break, just being able to sit back and watch him drive is a treat in and of itself.
Boy, isn't that the truth, Jeff? And you and I have had a front row seat for a lot of Andrew's driving this year as he's run the full season in the Probably World Challenge of GTS competition that you and I cover. And nobody, as Hayward said, is more fun to watch drive than those Phoenix Performance boys. And Andrew is the erstwhile leader of that group. It's pretty spectacular stuff. That said, however, as we're getting ready to go for this lap of for our Verb here is coming up. Scotty B. White, who's another fairly legendary driver in the touring classes, is going to give us our Garmin Verb fast lap.
Yeah, inside this Dodge Viper as he comes down the straightaway, V10 horsepower. As you see, he's starting to hit the brakes there. Was right at 145 miles an hour when he crossed the stripe. This is in a qualifying session down into turn number one. You'll see him start to work that wheel a little bit. A little bit of water mist on the front windshield here as this lap was a little bit earlier in the week when it was starting to just dry up a little bit here in the rain, but gives you a good shot about what these T1 drivers deal with in this category and the track down here into the International Horseshoe. Makes the exit, staying off the curbs as they're wet, trying to be very careful as he inches his way around this track.
Yeah, he didn't quite get the qualifying run he wanted, obviously, just fairly deep into the top 10, but you know, racing is different here. And this guy knows one thing about Vipers. He said that's great. He goes, you put a setup on them, they just work. And he said, I think that makes us a car that's going to be really a factor later in the race.
Yeah, watching him come down through the West Horseshoe now into this little short chute here into turn number 6 where you get hard on the brakes and you really got to spot your apex point early and know where you're going to turn in. Right there, you want to hit that cone, bring it all the way out to the gator strips here on the outside, and then up onto this bankment. It's a flat transition right there. Then you hit that transition, and the camera, even as great as this Garmin Verb is, does not give you how harsh that transition is here onto the oval. You get into 4th gear, you go to 5th gear, then you'll shift down to 6th, get into high gear, and start accelerating. You see that 135 miles an hour, just the aero push of the car as he comes out, trying to get through the air. 140, 145, 150, 152, right before he hits the braking zone. 152 miles an hour in that short little distance as he comes down into the bus stop. In the wet, right over that curb. You'll hit this curb, get the car to grip back again, let it settle down before you're bouncing it over another curb, then back onto the backstretch into NASCAR turn number 3, and then you'll cross the stripe, and this is where the big speed is. You see another little cinch there on the belts, and I'll tell you what, if I'm driving a Viper here on the high banks at Daytona, I'm going to make sure those belts are as tight as possible up into 5th gear as he accelerates past the Daytona sign on the exit at turn number 4. Starts gaining the speed there. Look at that Garmin Verb providing all the data here at 151, 52, 53 miles an hour as he crosses the stripe.
Well, and when you're talking these kind of speeds, obviously through the trial of the banking levels, if you will, down to about 17 degrees, still pretty solid banking. But when you're in that compression, especially out of the bus stop into Speedway 3 and 4, 33-degree banking, a big heavy car running 150, 160 miles an hour, there's some serious compression into that as well.
It really is. It really, you got to say, it's that aero push. You get that car, and it'll just stall the car out, basically. You're trying to push it through, and the bank is more like, think like a curve as you're making a curve getting on the freeway. It's that same feel if you've taken a curve a little too fast as you get onto a freeway or off of an on-ramp, but do that at 160 miles an hour with walls on both sides of it, it's a little scary.
And it's also a neck stretcher extraordinaire. You spend a fair amount of time up in that banking, and it really works your neck over here as the field sitting there in the pre-grid area, getting ready to go again, as are all the races here at the SCCA National Championship Runoffs. 14 laps here at Daytona at this nice long track, and or a 40-minute time limit should it ever come to that. And so far, at least today, I don't think we've had anything that has been limited by the time limits here. And as I said, every once in a while you get a shot here now. You'll see some pretty dark clouds, but they've been staying away today. We love that.
Yeah, during the STL race a little bit earlier today, it was raining. I was on the radio with my dad running that race, and he said it was raining between 3 light poles on NASCAR turn number 3. That was it. So that's the only spot of rain we've had on this track all day long. It's been just a great day. You see those drivers 5 minutes on the grid right now, and Mark Bowden needs to get in his car there. Andrew Aquilante not in his car either, so a quick, there's Pratt Cole crawling in his car. 5 minutes to go here on the grid for these T1 drivers.
Well, that's interesting, because one of the hiccups we have seen from a couple of teams, and some pretty notable teams as well, is that if you're not ready when they give that 1 minute board, you're held, and then you are at the back, regardless of where you've qualified. So, yeah, but I think one of the reasons that you're seeing these drivers wait until the last moment to get in these cars, these are high horsepower, and you know that these cars are closed up, and they generate heat, and you want to stay outside as long as you possibly can.
Yeah, you can. With and you talk about speed and horsepower. Andrew Aquilante, that lap time they did at a 1:53, I believe a 5.82 or 5.62, was 182 miles an hour in the speed trap, and that was hauling in that car as he come down through that T1 field.
Yeah, and I mean, folks, that's not a built-from-the-ground-up race car. That is a car that has started life as a production Ford Mustang Boss 302. A lot of work done on it, obviously, as you can in T1. Interesting story for him last year at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. They got there. They were originally going to run the Corvette, which has taken him to a number of his national championships, and they were having issues with that car, so they decided to try and run the Mustang. He said he really liked how that car worked. He's been running one all year in Pirelli World Challenge, so they went ahead and said, we're going to focus on that car, and boy, that lap he put together was a good one. He's on pole by over a second.
This is his Pirelli World Challenge GTS car, just modified to the T1. You take the air restrictor out there, take some of the weight off of it, take the wing off that you run in Pirelli World Challenge. They call the car Godzilla. That's the nickname of this car, and it certainly was here in the qualifying sessions. Now we'll have the chance to see here what Andrew Aquilante can do, and I think the better surprise here with all these monster V8s and push rods and American Iron sitting there in second place. How about that for Mark Bowden in a BMW M3?
That is one trick BMW M3 Coupe, no question about that, from Fall Line Motorsports, and they do such an exceptional job on these cars. And he won a national championship at Road America in GT2 in this very similar car back in 2009. We talked about Aquilani. He's got 5 gold medals to his name now. He's the defending champ in the category. You got a 3-time national champion in Pratt Cole, although his coming a few years ago, 2004 at Mid-Ohio, when he was running E-Production, and the most recent of those. And then John Buttermore, this is an interesting story, back in 10th, a 2-time national champion, and his most recent one as recent as 2012.
Yeah, really made that clinched a little bit early or later in his career, and still out there getting it done is Buttermore.
Yep, absolutely. So there's some experience here on this field as we anticipate here. We had the 5 minute a little while ago. It looks like everybody's pretty much in and buttoned up, and they're going to be headed out. And they just, when they release them, Jeff, as I understand it, they come out of the pit, out of the pre-grid, and they roll right through pit lane, and they just start right off onto that pace lap.
Yeah, they follow that Mazda MX-5 pace car, the brand new Cup car, that global racing series they'll have for those MX-5 cars. A lot of great things coming from Mazda on that global program. Tune in for some great announcements from that MX-5 program.
Absolutely. And by the way, getting word that this is one of there were 4 classes just due to the weight of the cars and the speed of the cars that will get 2 pace laps. And they said it isn't a heat issue in the tires, it's pressure, making sure that those tires are up to adequate pressure the first time that they come through down into turn 1 on the start and up onto that banking for the first time.
Yeah, a lot higher horsepower cars, traditionally heavier. You're talking 33, 34, 3,500 pounds in some of these cars. Just with the pressure that these cars create on the banking, want to make sure the tires are at temperature clean, and more importantly, the proper operating temperatures. You start the pressures a little bit lower as the tires generate heat. That air pressure starts coming up. You put nitrogen in the tires, and that limits the buildup of the tires versus compressed air, which generally has a lot more humidity inside the tire, the water grains inside that tire, so that the air goes up faster. So you usually use nitrogen in all these tires. So just want to make sure all those tires are at that proper air pressure. 1 minute to go on grid.
You see at the front of the grid there in the purple shirt, the big number 1 goes up. Now, you talked about Aquilani, for instance, this is the car they run in World Challenge GTS, taking the wing up, but these guys do run wings. These are just up in the air a bit higher, aren't they?
He's got a bigger wing on that car, taking the World Challenge spec wing off and putting a different wing on here. And like I said, you make some different changes to that car as well as starting to roll off is your pole sitter, Andrew Aquilante.
And when you're coming through the traps at 182 miles an hour here, this race should get around here pretty quick.
I would think so. When you're running around less than 2 minutes as well with the 14-minute race, or 14-lap race, should take less than 26 minutes to get this thing done.
Yeah, let's check in again with Hayward.
Guys, Touring 1 rolling out. The only class during qualifying that set a faster trap time than Touring 1 was GT1. These are cars that if you had to, you could jump in, run to the grocery store and get a gallon of milk. Some of them have World Challenge pedigree. Some of the drivers have World Challenge pedigree. These are the super cars, the fastest touring class, the second quickest class in the trap.
Oh boy, and I'll tell you, it is fast. And I mean, when you compare where these guys are running relative to a GT1 car, which is a built from the ground up car that is designed to have extraordinary straight line speed performance, and these guys are only, 12 miles an hour off that. That's pretty remarkable.
It really is, and if you get these guys into a draft, you would definitely eclipse that 182 mile an hour bracket. I'm not sure I want to drive a production-based car at 182 miles an hour in a draft here at Daytona International Speedway. But seeing that mother Mustang there of Pratt Cole roll off the Western Metals Mustang, and interested, been a good time family friend of the Coles, and the family moved from back east to coming across the country, and I believe Pratt ended up somewhere about Salt Lake City where he's based now. That's where the family van broke down, and that's where they put up shop with a metal business and a recycling business, and just where they ended up.
Yeah, Western Metals Transport, and in Salt Lake City, Utah. Kind of interesting. I thought you were going with a covered wagon story.
Oh,
there.
no, just that's where the car broke down, and that's where they decided to live and create their business and work their way up.
Beautiful part of the country, why not? Pretty decent little racetrack out in that neck of the woods. I bet he gets a few laps on now and again.
Miller Motorsports Park, of course, now it's going to be called, you know the name of that one now?
Yeah, the Utah Motorsports Campus.
There you go.
Yeah,
Motorsports will live on in Utah.
It's great to know that there's life in that facility thanks to a Chinese consortium, and that's absolutely wonderful news. It's a great facility, obviously, and it will be alive. Reports are that a number of top series, including maybe the Probably World Challenge that we're involved with, might be going there as well. So some good news there, and obviously taking a look at these cars. And I'm going back to what you were saying here. These cars, 180 miles an hour, these cars have to be just floating.
I cannot imagine what it must be like. You saw the onboard shots there of Scotty B. White from our Garmin Verb Fast Lap when he was all by himself running at 150, almost 160 miles an hour in the rain in that Dodge Viper. There's a good outside shot of that night transport Dodge Viper there, and you saw a good shot earlier, the Chevy Corvette of Joe Aquilante, of course, the patriarch, the leader of the Phoenix Performance team there, the dad and his son racing together in this class. Awesome to see that.
Yeah, absolutely. Boy, that's a fun paddock to stop by whenever you get an opportunity to visit. Lots of character and personalities there.
14 cars with Uncle Tom, Beth, Amy, John Heinrichsey, Andrew, Kurt Rezzitano, Preston Calvert that we'll see running in our T2 category a little bit later. It is a full paddock area, I think, just with themselves. We call that the Phoenix Performance Compound here at Daytona International Speedway.
Yeah, they don't show up with a team of cars. They show up with a grid. I think it's pretty much what they do. If everything else goes wrong, we can still have a race as long as the Phoenix Performance team is in the house. It's pretty much like that.
Make their own class.
Exactly. And talk about in the house, we are in the big house here, man. Daytona International Speedway, and we got some big iron that's going to come out and run here on the high banks. Something's feeling pretty righteous about this moment.
It really is. And remember, this is 2 pace laps. They're just completing their first one, coming around NASCAR turn 3 and 4 behind that Mazda MX-5 pace car. And you see those Mustangs, 3 Mustangs in the top 4 with that BMW qualified in second place. And that car makes a little smaller hole through the air, a little bit narrower than the Mustangs. I'm not sure if Mark Bowden's going to be a sitting duck here, or if he's going to be able to tuck in behind Andrew Aquilani and get a draft and pull away from Cameron Mogert.
Well, I think he should draft well and be difficult to draft off of. With that BMW, just as you said, making a little bit smaller hole in the air. The question is the engine in that BMW is not going to be as torquey and powerful in that launch up onto the banking out of 6. That is so key. However, that car generally tends to be very, very nimble on the infield section, and I think that car is going to transition exceptionally well through that bus stop section. But I got to tell you, something I'm really excited about seeing after knowing how much we've been watching Andrew Aquilani race this year, I'm looking forward to Andrew's laps through that bus stop because the man loves curbage.
Yeah, we watched him down there on Monday through the bus stop on his pole lap, which he set on Monday, and that Mustang a little softer sprung than a lot of these cars in the field, and the way that hits that curbs and lifts that front inside wheel every time, it is a pleasure to watch. If you can make yourself over your way over to the bus stop, that's where I'd want to watch this race, simply to see Andrew Aquilani go through it.
Yeah, they really love those cars to plant that weight firmly, don't they? So they do spring them a little bit more softly, and it really allows them to be aggressive over the curves. There's a look at number 32, Papa Joe, in the Phoenix Performance Machine. And at the other end of the grid, there's the sun up on that pole. There's a look there at the number 22 at Tim Myers, another of these Dodge Vipers. This one, an ACRX. That's the 2010 ACRX, and that's the car that was designed and built and ran in the Dodge Viper Cup for a number of years. It's a pretty serious little piece of race car.
Yeah, it really is. Of course, the comp coupe that Scotty White drives versus that ACRX, a little bit different there. Here's another one of those Phoenix Performance cars, David Sanders, running the Chevy Corvette there. So no less than 3 Phoenix Performance prepped vehicles here in this race. And I think Joseph Goddard is a Phoenix car, but I could be wrong in the Corvette just in front of Dave Sanders there. We'll get word on that as well.
It's very likely. And, there's a reason that they get those kind of numbers with Phoenix Performance. Is you get in a Phoenix Performance car, it is a car fully capable of winning in any class that it's entered in. If you don't get the job done, that's on you. But the cars are prepped. They are capable, and you've also got a guy like an Andrew Aquilani, now a Kurt Resitano, that can get behind the wheel, lay down some base times for you, give you some good reference points, and that coaching is invaluable too.
It really is. You got Andrew Aquilani, multi-time national champion, clinched the championship for Ford in the GTS category of Pirelli World Challenge, just missed out on that driver championship, but they also don't count out Fall Line Motorsports as well. 2 cars in this field, and Fall Line, one of those top prep teams across the country as well. So 2 of the top performance shops in the country represented here in the T1 category.
Absolutely. Fall Line winning a national championship in T2 last year in the hands of Andrew Long. So certainly they are one of the top teams. Now the field's starting to pair up in the side-by-each formation here as we come around, completing the second lap, giving these guys plenty of time to scrub some heat and pressure into those tires. That pace car will make a late move down into pit lane, right where pit lane starts at the tri-oval entrance, and then it's up to your pole sitter and the starter. And we've got 14 laps. These should fly by.
Just got a text message, 5 Phoenix Performance cars here in this T1 field.
Wow, that's just spectacular, isn't it? Yeah, this one should be fun. All right, here we go. Out of Speedway 4. And Andrew letting that pace car get away a little bit, and I think he likes the torque in that big V8, especially with Bowden and that little bit more high-strung, high-revving machine up on his shoulder. So Andrew wants to be able to really launch it here. That pace car, that beautiful new Mazda MX-5, there's the move, and you'll know when these guys fire up the green. Let's listen for it. There it is. Green flag. T1 is underway here at Daytona.
You can just hear that vibrations that come down into the braking zone of turn number 1. Pratt Cole there to the outside of Cameron McGurry, not able to make that pass, though. He goes back into 4th place.
Yeah, he was thinking about it, but he realized, I'm just going to get squeezed off into the Netherlands there, and backed out of it. And Tim Myers just slots in position as well. He got a smart move here. Get out there, and I'll tell you, Bowden really needed some way to get in front of Aquilani, because the fear here is for everybody, and you just have to be honest about it. with the way Aquilani's running, and you look at that lap time, that he could just check out in this one. That doesn't mean we're not going to have a phenomenal battle for the rest of these podium spots.
Yeah, and even throughout the field here is Tim Myers and Alan Kossoff in that second of those fall line BMWs. Kossoff down to the inside of Myers, trying to make that pass here on the exit of the West Horseshoe.
Well, that's where you see that handling of that BMW. It's lighter, it's more nimble, and it can make moves like that, but Tim Myers is going to try and stuff it down the inside. Smart move there by Kossoff. I think he realized that that big Viper was coming up, and he just opened the wheel up so that he didn't turn down and get clocked by it. But now that's going to allow the 77 of Sanders there, that yellow Phoenix Performance Corvette, to come up and play a role here.
See them down through that oval just to hear those V8 screaming. As smoke coming out of the back of David Sanders' car on the exit of turn number 2 in the NASCAR oval. Not sure if that might have been some tire rub from the compression down on the aero.
Yeah, I think that may have been the right front tire, and I think that may have been compression. Exactly what you were just saying. Oh, big lurid slide there by Alan Kossoff. And once again, folks, this is for well back in the order, and here comes the strength of that big Viper as Tim Myers is coming right back after him here.
It's more of the handling versus the power here as Tim Myers goes around Mark Bowden, and back to our leader, Andrew Aquilante, going to lead that first lap with Mark Bowden in second place. Back to third, it's going to be Cameron McGurry. He is in that second of the Mustangs, and then Pratt Cole in that Western Metals Mustang right on his back bumper. It's 2 by 2 for your top 4.
Bowden doing a very nice job staying right with Andrew Aquilani here. Now, Aquilani is a pretty savvy driver, and he may be just doing enough to lead right now and have some reserves left in that car, but Bowden, he's going to do whatever he can to go after it. And then this great battle for third again, watching what's unfolding here. And again, the 88, Pratt Cole. Not a lot of guys in this field that have much more experience than Pratt. Now, a lot of his success, of course, came when he was running prod cars years ago, but he has really found a home. He loves running these high horsepower machines in T1.
He really does. 3-time EP national champion in that Mazda Miata that Jim Daniels campaigned last year at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, running 3 times here in 97, 01, and 04. But you got to go all the way back to when he ran the runoffs back in 1991, when he just barely 4 years in a row got 4th place. Did not get a podium.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to believe. Here's Pratt, good look there at that car, as you said, Jeff, that Western Metals transport machine. And great character, and does most of his talking, though, inside the car and the track. And does a job, though.
Ran Trome stock, ran the Firehawk Endurance Series, the Escort Endurance Series with SCCA back in the late 80s, early 90s, and really, like you said, found a home here in these higher horsepower Ford Mustangs. Been campaigning this car for a few years, especially up in the Pacific Northwest.
Watching him lap around here again. Oop, we got a little bit of something has happened here, and they're coming together.
Joe Aquilante there getting tangled up with Thomas Ellis, and damage to Aquilani's Corvette there, and Ellis ripping the front nose off that Mustang there.
Boy, that's going to affect you on the banking here. That's going to be a huge aero drag on that car, as we're watching again. Pratt Cole, guy right in front of him. Again, Cameron Maggieri out of Ormond Beach, Florida, local driver, good track experience here in his BTI Motorsports Ford Mustang. He was, this year, he was the T1 champion in the Southeastern Division, and a lot of success, obviously, when you've been able to put together that kind of a season and putting it to good use here, along with some track knowledge, and running a really solid third right now. He's not running right at the back end of Bowden right now, but he's keeping these two up front certainly in check a little bit, and certainly in sight.
You saw the Andrew Aquilani come through that kink, and that left front tire just elevated itself right out off that asphalt there, planting the right rear of that tire through the kink. That's just amazing how softly sprung that Mustang is. And
they just run it that way. They just love driving those cars like that. And you know, we see him sometimes be aggressive over a curb, but the inside unloaded tire never even hits the curb. You know, when he gets there, it's just the back, and then that kicks it around, rotates it a little bit. They have just figured out how to make these cars stick.
Yeah, it really is. And of course, with the new 2015 Mustang coming out next year, we'll see if all the success they've had with this older body style now, will they keep running those cars both in here in the runoffs and as well as going into Pirelli World Challenge, or will they switch to that new chassis? I don't know. As much as those cars are hooked up, I don't know if I want to develop an independent axled Mustang.
Yeah, I mean, they've got the solution pretty well wired for these cars. We have seen, on occasion in races that we've seen that new a car that you're talking about. It does have, depending upon the type of track, that independent rear really does seem to make a bit of a difference, but on some tracks, not so much.
Yeah, I don't think here you have a much of a disadvantage by running that live rear axle. Mark Bowden doing a great job, though, in that BMW up in second place. Trying to take a quick look here at some of the times, and the best lap time so far in this race goes to your overall leader to 1:55.494. Not too far back, though, best lap time, Mark Bowden. It's about 11 thousandths of a second back, so really close for your first and second place in overall lap time.
Boy, good battle. Ooh, that's an interesting line for Joseph Gaudet. Just overran that exit of turn 1 a little bit and just straight lined across the dirt. That's dirtied up his tires now. He floats out a little bit wide in his red Corvette, and that allows right underneath him comes Sanders, and they're both chasing right now. Kossoff in that fall line number 48.
Yeah, trying to battle for 6th here. Kossoff has it. Sanders looks like the troubles he had earlier on with that tire rub has gone away. And there's two things. Either you rub the bodywork away from it, or you start rubbing the rubber off that tire away from it. Either way, I don't think it's good to go, whichever path you take.
No, I think you'd prefer the former, though, because you don't want to be rubbing, especially on an outside tire up on that banking. That's a little bit of a sketchy proposition. And we're going to find out now as they make that launch up onto the banking. And it was right near the exit of Speedway 2 where we started to see that little telltale trail of smoke from the 77. And you're right, Jeff, looks like that's settled in just a little bit here. But boy, that car of Gaudet, that has some straight line speed. Yeah, there was a draft that played out there, but that car is getting it done down the chutes.
Yeah, Kossoff doing a great job of leading these two Corvettes. Of course, has the Calypso on the side. Got to appreciate all the free Calypso Sotos we've had this weekend as he gets it a little crossed up there in the second part of the bus stop. Able to recover, though, and shoot it out. And that's an old GS car running in the IMSA Continental Series. Both of these fall line cars. So able to do multiple duties with both those BMWs.
All right, let me understand here. You got the Calypso hookup and you didn't include your play-by-play buddy?
I'm so sorry.
Oh,
sorry.
That's a bad boy. No question about that.
I'm even getting word from my producer going, I gotta get Calypso. Gee whiz. I'll go meet up with Alan Kossoff at the end of this race. We'll grab ourselves a case, sit around here and drink some Calypso here. Doing a great job as he gets way sideways down through turn number 1.
I think he heard you
drifts
on the radio,
it right to the outside.
Oh man, now I got to figure out how to case up the TV compound. That's not good. A little bit of a distraction. A great save though, wasn't it? That was, boy, brilliant save he made there once it got away from him there.
It comes off to the exit. Heated those tires up, though. It's going to have to give himself a couple of corners to help cool that off. Down into the West Horseshoe here, through the kink, hard in the braking zone. Really just enough time in these T1 cars to straighten the car out for the braking zone. That's how fast they go down through the kink. David Sanders pressuring Alan Kossoff now, sees that opening, goes all the way to the edge there, trying to work the draft behind this BMW M3.
Well, he really went for the rim shot there, and I mean, for a moment there, I thought he was going to go right off the track, and he got that Corvette to stick, and now he's up and after him here, and it's going to be interesting. The one thing, that BMW is narrower, obviously, than these Vettes, but it does present with that kidney grille, that famous BMW grille, a little bit more frontal area here, and I would have thought that Sanders would have been able to just run right up behind him here, and boy, that BMW from fall line is making some serious speed in a straight line.
Definitely has some legs down the straightaway here at Daytona International Speedway. And when it comes to handling, there's not many cars that are better than a BMW either. So great on the infield, and they've got it tuned up for the oval.
Meanwhile, up a little bit farther in things, and we've got a battle shaping up for second as Cameron Majeri is coming after Mark Bowden right now. And Bowden scoots way, way wide. And boy, that was an aggressive move. And again, that was almost mirror image to what Kossoff did. I wonder if those tires are starting to go off on the backs of those BMWs. They're driving so hard to stay with these Mustangs.
Yeah, they have to really make up for a lot here in the infield as Pratt Cole goes down to the inside of Mark Bowden as well. Goes into that final podium spot into third place as Mark Bowden goes from second to fourth in the space of 3 corners.
Well, I'll tell you, you could see Pratt Cole, there was just a nanosecond of hesitation, and then he realized this will work. and just went for it. We could see that little hesitation just for a second, and he just wanted to make sure he didn't want to clock anybody here and create any issues. So now we've got Mustangs running 1, 2, 3 at this point. In Maggiore, that's a 2013 Ford Mustang, and for Pratt Cole, that's a 2008 Ford Mustang. So a couple of different model years here, and this battle still rages.
Yeah, Kossoff versus Sanders still going off as Cadet has now pulled away into that 5th position, just ahead of him in that red Mustang. Sanders to the outside, trying to make a pass here through turn number 6. Can he stay on the outside? And he does, coming up onto the oval. That's a big power move to the outside of turn 6.
And to Kossoff's credit, he could have tracked out and really forced Sanders wide, and Kossoff did give him a little bit of racing room. Whoa, and we got another side-by-side battle here as Cole now has forced his way by Cameron Maggiore. That puts him up into 2nd.
Yeah, Pratt Cole getting it done there in the bus stop. Usually don't have room there to make a pass, but he stuck his nose down to the inside, able to get around Maggiore for that 2nd place.
Well, he's just come alive, hasn't he? Cole has here, and I wonder if he didn't get his car set up just a little bit for it to come in a little bit later in the run here, as we are working lap 6 now, just completing lap 6 for Andrew Aquilani. So we'll be working lap 7 of 14. So next time by, Jeff, halfway.
It happens quick here in our T1 category as you see Cameron come back down to the inside, getting a little sneak peek. That's how he made that pass on Mark Bowden a few laps to go, and now Mark has faded back in that 4th position in that fall line BMW. You got to think, like we said earlier, Greg, just driving too hard down on the road course portion to try to keep up on the oval with these faster Mustangs.
Yeah, absolutely, and so things have settled just a little bit, and as we're just about at halfway here in our run to the medals in Touring 1, we're going to step away from our 15th running of the SCCA National Championship Runoffs at Daytona. The 2015 SCCA National Championship Runoffs, presented by Garmin Verb, is being brought to you by Mazda. Mazda, driving matters.
16 wide eyes. Driver's license, took 2 tries, bought a Roadster secondhand. Playing parties with the band, loaded up, off to state. Hijinks, tailgates, starter, midsize, family cruising. Now in the garage, something new reminds you of when you were you.
It's time to face facts. You're a gearhead. You wish the freeway on-ramp was your personal racetrack. Well, buckle up, buddy, because the Sports Car Club of America wants you. With 40,000 members and events across the country, the SCCA has all the excitement you can handle. Dance the blacktop two-step with SCCA Solo. Get down and dirty with SCCA Rallycross. Or go wheel-to-wheel with SCCA Club Racing. Hit the track with the SCCA, where America's best drivers race.
The battle remains for 2nd spot here as Andrew Aquilani in our run to the medals in the Touring 1 class at our 2015 SCCA National Championship Runoffs, our 52nd running of this event, being brought to you by Mazda here in the event presented by Garmin Verb. And Aquilani has just, he sort of leapt out here a little bit to a lead of about 5 seconds, and he's just stabilized it. He's really driving the gap, doing it brilliantly here. And these two guys are the show right now, because Pratt Cole, when he got around Maggiore right before he went to break, Jeff, looked like he might just track away from everybody here, and Maggiore has had none of that and has come right back after him.
He's been able to stay in the draft here on the oval and not lose too much here on the road course. Not sure if Pratt Cole overdrove that Mustang a little bit, trying to get up to that 2nd place and starting to fall off a little bit, but as much as these guys are sliding these Mustangs around for this whole race, it seems that everybody's starting to fall off that same distance. But how about this for speed-wise? Mark Bowden, top speed so far, 182.411 miles an hour. Your leader, Andrew Aquilani, at a 177. Nobody else eclipsing that 180 mile an hour mark, but it is that fast, slippery BMW M3.
That's pretty impressive stuff, isn't it? That's, I mean, that's some seriously quick stuff from that BMW.
Yeah, 182.4, and that also gives him the 3rd fastest segment. He's purple there at a 22.562, 2nd in that 3rd segment, which is that oval from the bus stop to the line.
So that's proof positive that that BMW is slippery, no question about that. Just obviously is just not able to maintain the overall lap pace that we've seen from those Mustangs right now. And good lap there. Look at that. The first segment right now. That fast lap has gone to Missouri. That's a great lap.
Yeah, good run for him. As you're watching the live timing at scca.com/live, there is a live chat there as well, and getting word that the Philadelphia region is pretty represented here with Andrew Aquilani, Dave Sanders, and Joe Aquilani, as well as the Pope visiting Philadelphia, watching live at scca.com. I doubt it, but still, it's worth a shot.
Just wishful thinking there. Yeah, having the pontiff tuned in to watch T1. Nice thought. But again, yeah, great to see. I mean, that is such an active area, obviously, in Sports Car Club of America racing. And there is Mr. Andrew Aquilani, and man, does he love to wheel the big iron.
Yeah, you can see him just sliding that car right on the edge, coming off the corner there, just a little bit loose as he comes down here into that hard braking zone, running Hoosier tires on this Ford Mustang, the car they nicknamed Godzilla, through turn number 6, then on to the oval as he comes through the speed trap at 124 miles an hour there as he enters up onto the oval. That is really hauling and just carries that speed here. We saw in the Viper on our Garmin Verb fast lap that Scotty White in the rain was touching 150 before the braking zone. That tells you the speeds these guys are going.
Yeah, awfully quick. Now, watch this, folks. This is going to be beautiful. Andrew Aquilani in these transitions, when he can use some curb, is just a lot of fun to watch. Actually, that's pretty reserved for Andrew. He didn't do too much of a flick and catch there and just driving it off. And I think that's a good plan. He knows he's got a car right now that is capable of winning. The last thing you want to do is just in a joyride, if you will, go out and burn things down a little bit too much. He's too smart for that, and he's driving well within what he and that car are capable of right now, making sure he's got something left.
Yeah, still have little less than halfway to go, completing lap 9, working lap number 10. So you got 5 laps to go here as he crosses the line. Pratt Cole and Cameron Majera just still battling for that final podium spot. I'm sorry, second and third place here. As now Cameron going to try the outside, goes a little too deep. A lot of pickup there, a lot of that clag, as David Hobbs would call there on the outside of turn number 1. The rubber bits coming off of these tires.
But that move forced Cole to tighten up his entry, and you can see Cole floated real wide at the exit of 1. And you do that just a little bit too much, and suddenly you drop tires off on the outside there, and that's opportunity. So I think these guys are playing a really fun game of cat and mouse that we're just sort of watching unfold.
Awesome part to see these Mustangs down, come through that kink, just hook that left front tire there, no lift. You see no brake lights coming through, and Dave Sanders and Tim Myers here battling down at turn number 1. Tim Myers, better brakes than that Viper, looks like, than that Corvette, shooting fire out of the back of that Phoenix Performance car.
Yeah, you gotta love that. And they're chasing Alan Kossoff, who's locked into that 6th spot in the number 48 fall line BMW. And then it's the 77 there, that yellow with the black numbers, the Phoenix Performance Corvette. And then the 22 of Tim Myers. Again, that is that Dodge Viper ACRX that he runs. BF Goodrich Tires, Carbotech, and ACA Worldwide. Good supporters for him as well.
Kossoff there, so you got in the kink, had to make a correction, and that really affected his entry speed here into that West Horseshoes of Dave Sanders right on his back bumper. Going to try to see if he can pull alongside in this little short shoot down to turn number 6. We've seen him on the outside here before, Greg.
Yeah, he's made it work, just driven right around the outside. And boy, Sanders, that car is just sticking, isn't it? I mean, right there again, it didn't step out at all. And again, kudos to Kossoff for giving him that little bit of room out there and not trying to drift into him. But now Kossoff into the toe, pulls up, pulls out. And we'll see whether he's able to complete the pass or if he just sort of stalls out there at this stage. Those BMWs are pretty impressive in a straight line, no question.
Yeah, 176 miles an hour for Kossoff, only 172 top speed so far for Sanders. You see Kossoff just powers and motors right by a Chevy Corvette in a BMW. You don't hear her say that too often.
Oh, and look at this. Kossoff a little bit wide mid-bus stop, and Sanders just sort of stuck the nose in there. That slowed up Sanders, and here comes Myers.
Yeah, right down to the inside in that ACRX Dodge Viper. I love the Dodge Viper, one of my favorite cars. That V10 mega torque when you want it. Just let your wallet be your guide on how fast you want to go and put that right foot down. Coming down through the oval, the top speed for Tim Myers in that Dodge Viper so far during this race is right at 174.2 miles an hour.
Well, and it's interesting. That's one of the things I love about SCCA racing is because of the variety of machinery. Obviously, the spec classes are spec, but the other ones here, and you get this very different engine out. There's a very different sound to that BMW M3 engine than that roar of the V8s and that literal harmonic howl of the V10s. It's just a great symphony that all of these different instruments in the orchestra put out. That's great fun.
And these guys are having such a great battle here for the 6th places. Kossoff, Myers, and Sanders swapping those positions lap after lap, corner after corner.
And I mean, look at the different cars. I mean, that's one of the things that's so cool here is, you know, these SCCA officials. Again, this is the club. These are guys that do this, and they're not paid to spend all this time working on rules and regulations, and yet they get things this close, and they put a lot of time and sweat equity into it for sure. And again, Sanders going to try that outside move, and Kossoff, again, pinching that exit to not get up and into him, and it actually cost Kossoff big time in his run on the banking. But boy, we've seen him once he gets into a draft, that BMW just comes alive.
Well, that Corvette's way wider than that BMW, cuts a way bigger hole in the air than the BMW does too, so he's going to benefit from the draft. We'll see him probably come down in the bus stop again and get around Sanders. Here is that pass down to the inside, makes the move, and can he pull Tim Myers through with him down here into the bus stop?
I don't know. Myers a little bit too far back, and this time, whoops, a problem here for the 152. John Buttermore, again, a multi-time national champion, having a bit of a moment out there. Oh. And Kossoff, it's gone wrong. He's looped it, and he is facing traffic.
Right on the exit of the bus stop through there, and I'm not sure if there was contact or we saw him getting way wide to the middle of the bus stop here. Let's watch it through as he comes down, hits the curb on that inside there, gets a lot of that curb, goes way wide. Starts to go away, and there it is, all by himself, just was wide through that bus stop.
Well, there's a very defined line now in that bus stop, and it's defined by, as you said, as Habbo would say, the clag, the dirt, the debris, the marbles that's out there. And that time, that left rear just got into it. You've got nothing now.
Not at all. No grip. The tires slip, and you can't recover no matter how much power you got, and you want it to go back around. But what a great battle that was. Unfortunately, the end of the stick was Kossoff. That's going to move. Scotty White gets around him as well.
And yeah, it was Sanders, obviously. He had to check up pretty good, and that allowed Myers to just jump on that opportunity. Ooh, a little bit of smoke from that right rear of Sanders' bright yellow, I don't know if that's bright yellow, but yellow Corvette.
And there is no tire rub coming from that thing this time on the bankment. That was probably some sort of engine smoke there, and you saw that smoking. We'll have to keep our eye out on that. Cars have the normal grill openings per the factory in the production, and there it is on those right-hand corners, smoking a little bit, but has not affected his speed whatsoever as he blew by Tim Meyer down into the braking zone of turn number 6.
Well, I've been watching Sanders, and out of that west horseshoe, he just does that rim shot, and he's found some grip out there, and apparently it lets that vet free it up a little bit. He just comes out of that turn like he's shot from a cannon.
Yeah, really gets the hookup of that car, gets those Hoosier tires to hook up and really kind of launch out of that west horseshoe into turn number 6.
Sorry, I was just listening to the sound of that Viper.
Oh, it sounds so good. Big V10.
Compelling.
I love the Dodge Vipers. Good, fun car to drive. It's one of those you want the torque when you get it. Sanders really sliding that car through the bus stop, both sides, just getting that car to go. But look, there is the man that has been on a rail. Andrew Aquilante, your overall leader. 2 laps to go. Should be getting the white flag here next time by for that Phoenix Performance Calvert Dynamics Ford Mustang as he comes down out of the west horseshoe into turn number 6. Pratt Cole putting a lap on Joe Aquilante, who had the earlier troubles there with Tom Ellis and his Mustang. You see the damage to the front of that Corvette.
And then that white Mustang of Mr. Majeri still right there in podium contention, sitting in a 3rd spot right now. Oh. And here's the problem. He may have cut a tire down.
Yeah, Mark Bowden there. Looks like there was a bad tire, and you can see the damage to that tire. And we talked about giving these guys 2 pace laps and the setups of the cars on the bank. It looks like that was an inner tire failure on the back of Mark Bowden's fall line BMW.
Yeah, although it looked like there may have been a little bumper flap on the other side, but that could have all come when that just flipped around and loosened everything up here. Majeri now has gone around Joe Aquilani, and his target is about 15 car lengths in front, and it's a silver medal that hangs in the balance here. It's a matter of which neck it hangs around here. Majeri, he's got to find something here in this last, it's going to be a lap and a half.
And you want to be there at the end. You're not sure how it might play out, so we'll see if Andrew Aquilani can hold it together here. Should be 1 to go this time by for your leader.
And there is Cole, and Aquilani has already snuck through. So the white flag is out. There comes Majeri, and Aquilani up the road now to the tune of about 6.2 seconds. There he is, working through the exit of 1, now 2, now 3. And then this quick little shoot, hard on the brakes, down into the International Horseshoe.
See him come down through there, get back on the gas. You just hear that V8 rev up, puts a shift there on the exit of the corner. That tells you how hooked up that car is, never even twitched in between the shifts.
It just feeds it through this kink.
Call it the one-eyed bandit here tonight with one headlight on as he comes down here into the West Horseshoe. Sawing at the wheel just a little bit. Just a little grip, loss of grip here as he comes down through the West Horseshoe into the braking zone at turn number 6, and then onto the oval for one last time here. NASCAR turns 1 and 2.
And eyeballing gold medal number 6 in his career at the SCCA's National Championship Runoffs, presented by Garmin Verb. And Aquilani up high onto the banking one more time as he just keeps that hammer dropped, knowing what he needs to do right now. 2013 and 2014 GT2 national champion, as well as his T1 championship last year. He's had a couple of good years in these Phoenix Performance machines.
He really has, and I kind of want to know if he's even sweating. That car's been on a rail this whole time, and I don't think he's sweating from the driving. I think he's sweating from just the pure heat here, but doing a great job controlling this race, staying out in front, minding his P's and Q's. He's handled lap traffic brilliantly.
Yep.
Only has NASCAR turn 4 and then the tri-oval.
And you know, one of the most prestigious awards in SCCA club racing is the President's Cup, and he won that on the way to the T1 championship in 2007. And there it is, folks. Gold medal number 6 that is going to be draped around the neck of Andrew Aquilani. There's that Phoenix crew. Talk about a hard-working bunch, but a group that loves racing more than you can imagine here. In Andrew Aquilani, he just controlled this one start to finish.
Sure did. Another win for Ford for Andrew Aquilani in that Phoenix Performance. Calvert Dynamics Ford Mustang, your T1 national champ.
And Cameron Majeri on that last lap snuck by Pratt Cole. We didn't see it. We were watching Andrew come along, and looks as though Cameron Majeri may have claimed on that last lap that silver medal. Meanwhile, this battle continues here. Tim Myers, this is for the top 5, and Myers got around Sanders, and he now has been able to hang on here, but we've seen Sanders, that car's so quick. Will he be able to track Myers down here? Myers looks like he's got just a bit too much in terms of steam built up here, Jeff, as they head toward the tri-oval and the finish line.
And David Sanders, you see the smoke coming out of that back of that Corvette. I think it's a little wounded. Probably fell off a little bit near the end as Scotty B. White was coming. He'll finish there in 7th.
Oh, I hear somebody out there celebrating.
Yeah, not sure who that was, but we definitely heard somebody sitting up on there in the rev limiter.
Yeah, and you can see the little puffs of smoke exactly as you spotted it, Jeff, for Sanders there struggling a little bit. By the way, Joseph Gaudet, good solid run to 4th. He put in here in the number 86. Pretty amazing where he came up through the field there. He started 6th and was just always in the hunt, was able to get around Myers. And when Bowden had his problems, that put him up into 4th in the over 1G Racing Carbotech. Yes, and you were correct, a Phoenix Corvette Z06.
5 cars here in our T1 category, capped off by the win for your 2015 Touring 1 champion, Andrew Aquilani from Phoenix Performance. There's a great run from McGarry right there at the beginning. They're finishing in that 2nd place, able to pull it off in the end, was strong all race long, battled with Pratt Cole there at the end.
So here we go, enjoying that cool down lap. They will make their way down into pit lane, and they have that special area cordoned off. And you're going to see a few cars that are going to head out on track that look very much unlike a T1 car, and those are what they call hardship laps, as drivers and teams that have had some sort of an issue and had to make a substantial fix just to make sure the car works, since there aren't any warm-ups here, to make sure if they had to replace something or make a major repair that it in fact took, and that they don't have any issues. And here comes Aquilani as he is heading his way right down into our pit lane victory circle area. And Hayward is going to be waiting for him, and we're going to hear from all three of our medalists. And, Aquilani, well, that was expected, but Legere, I can't wait to hear, because we apparently didn't see it here on our coverage. So when Hayward gets to interviewing our silver medalist, we'll make sure and have him ask about that. But there's Andrew Aquilani, and getting that window net released, sort of, kind of. There it comes.
Told you he wasn't sweating.
Nope, I'll tell you, yeah, it just frustrates you big time, doesn't it? You walk through a Probably Will Challenge paddock after a big race, too, and he gets out of the car, and it's looking pretty fresh. He does have a helmet blower there, but off it comes. And on a hot, humid day, that Hoosier wrap is going to go around the neck, and then the microphone will appear from Hayward Wagner. Hayward, it's all yours whenever you're ready. Whoo, says Andrew.
Andrew Auckland, it doesn't seem to matter what track we're at or what class we're in. This is where you end up in victory lane.
Yeah, no, I'm a bit. This one's probably one of the tougher ones we've won in the past 3 years. A lot of work heading up to this, and not being able to prep the car as much as we wanted to, plus not being able to get to Daytona beforehand. But we did a great job. The entire Phoenix Performance crew, the body shop did a great job fixing the car up. Ben and Kurt hauled ass and got the motor and stuff in 2 days and rebuilt the front end of the car so we could bring it down here, and this is what we did.
Now, you basically were able to lead into turn one and just put your head down and turn laps. Did this go from a race to just going out and having fun, or were you really in the mindset of trying to maintain your distance?
No, I mean, you can't zone out. You gotta keep focus, and that's what I did. Bowden got pretty close early on, and so I put my head down and turned it up. And then as soon as he started falling back, I kind of just turned back the knob on myself just to preserve tires in case there was a caution. So I got to thank Hoosier for an awesome A7 tire. That thing in 95-degree heat and this brute of a car withstood the entire time. Hawk brakes, Brembo brakes, Penske Racing shocks, obviously Phoenix Performance, all the crew, my mom and dad, Calvert Dynamics, Varsity Lawn Care, Susquehanna Services, just everybody involved in this. Ford Performance as well, because they've been a huge help in World Challenge, and as well as doing club racing stuff, so it's a good feeling for all.
All right, Andrew, we're going to send you out on your victory lap. Before we leave the car, guys, can you see right here on the window net? A Phoenix Racing car has a Heim-jointed window net just to make sure that absolutely nothing is left to chance. One of the best prep shops in the business. We're going to step back to Cameron Mageri. Cameron, tell us about the pass for second.
It was a tough one. He was really dumping oil towards the end. It was really hard to stick past him and just stay with him. But, I mean, my guys said if just stick with it, it'll come to you, and it did.
It looked like you guys had the best race on the track. Andrew got away from everybody a little bit, but you guys just kept fighting and really put on a great show. How much fun was that race for you?
That was definitely the best race I ever had. I mean, it was lap after lap. We were faster in different places, so it was really difficult for me to hang with them in the infield. But as soon as I got down to the banking, I got a little bit, but it was just a game, and I came out on top.
All right, so big smiles here. The second place podium finisher, and Cameron Mageri, correct?
Yes.
Congratulations to you. And now we're going to find Pratt Cole, if we can slide past you just a second. Pratt Cole, another Runoffs podium for you, Pratt. This time a bronze here in Touring 1. Looked like you guys were just having a great scrap.
We were having a pretty good race there. We were racing good and clean, and I thought I had second put away. Then I blew out the power steering. The power steering blew out and all over the windshield coming across the white, taking a white flag, and I really thought I had 8 seconds at that time. I really thought I could hold him off, but it was quite a handful without power steering.
Now, you've run the Runoffs at a variety of tracks, a bunch of different classes. How much fun is it to come here and drive these big, powerful cars on the high banks at Daytona?
Well, it's a lot of fun. This is a whole lot different than my regular car. I'm not known, but if I am known, it's for the Miata, the production Miata, and this is a whole lot different world. And you know what? It's another car, another race, another lot of fun.
Another podium.
Another podium. Unfortunately, I thought we were almost the best of the rest, but here we go. We're happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. Before we send it upstairs, I want to bring my camera guy around here and look through the windshield of the Pratt Cole car sitting here, the power steering fluid all over it. Not only was he driving with a mechanical disadvantage, but very little vision out of the front of that car.
Well, that's where experience comes in, and the man's got that, and you can see how he handled it with great aplomb, by the way. And how about Cameron Majeri, 21 years old, his first runoff silver medal? I mean, not bad.
On to a good career there, and another young
so.
man right there sitting waiting for his victory lap too. Andrew Aquilante, his 6th national championship here, and not a lot of years of racing in the national levels here, so he's on to a long nationals career.
You know what? He made a really good point, too, about, when he said this was one of the tougher ones, and you think of the margin of victory of 6 seconds and the like. But he made a point. He said, we weren't able to come to Daytona like a lot of other people were able to do and come and run in early season majors. Why? Running a full Pirelli World Challenge campaign kept that crew pretty occupied. Let's get back down and check in again with Hayward.
Hey guys, I was just walking back over to our little station over here and I saw the front wheel of Cameron's Mustang here. That is a flat front tire on this car. I don't know how many more laps or even half laps he had left in this thing. So both of these guys in the 2nd and 3rd battle driving Wounded Warriors.
Yeah, I think that's called leaving nothing on the table and, driving the wheels off the car.
Yeah, truly.
Whatever cliche you can throw out here. Let's take a look at the results. Aquilani, Majeri, and Cole, your podium. Joe Gaudet, great run. Quiet run, but up into 4th, and Tim Myers. That battle between Myers, Sanders, and Kossoff was one of the big shows of this one, without question. Obviously, Kossoff having that moment coming through the bus stop that spit him back just a little bit, but boy, did they put on a great battle.
Yeah, they sure did. And then Scotty White getting in 7th, Alan Kossoff 8th, Bowden, and Tom Ellis.
And taking a look at a couple of the key moments from this race as we wrap up our coverage. And for Aquilani, pole, flag to flag, win. Just an absolutely great run. A couple of moments here. That was Joe Aquilani and Ellis getting a little bit of a contretemps. And then here's that moment for Kossoff, and it just got away from him. But that allowed, again, Andrew Aquilani, who just had things covered from the get-go, and a very happy Phoenix Performance crew as they watched their man bring home, as you said, Jeff, national championship number 6. And he gets to go out and enjoy that very special lap of honor with a big piece of gold medal draped around your neck. Got to be loving that. It's always a pleasure, my friend. That's us done for the day here, and that is done in T1. The battle for the medals here at Daytona International Speedway in this 2015 SCCA National Championship Runoffs, presented by Garmin Verb. And again, a huge thanks down in pit lane. Hayward Wagner doing an absolutely phenomenal job here at Daytona International Speedway. This 54th runnings coverage being brought to you by Mazda. Thanks so much, everybody, and we'll see you tomorrow. The 2015 SCCA National Championship Runoffs, presented by Garmin Verb, is being brought to you by Mazda. Mazda, driving matters.
16 wide eyes. Driver's license, took 2 tries, bought a Roadster secondhand. Playing parties with the band, loaded up, off to state. Hijinks, tailgates, starter, midsize, family cruising. Now in the garage, something new reminds you of when you were you.